Hi, my name is Aubrey Campbell. This is for class SPCE 610-814. This is a fall semester, and my professor is Dr. Kelly Elrath. Today I'm going to be talking about multiple stimulus preference assessments without replacement. So first I'm going to show this presentation to give you a little bit more insight about what it is and what the purpose of it is, and then I'll show you how we're going to conduct a preference assessment. So first, I want to go into what the difference is between preferences and reinforcers. So a preference does not always equal a reinforcer. It's important to remember, like, a preference is something that a person may prefer or want in a moment, whereas a reinforcer is something that may increase the probability of a behavior occurring. So for example, I like to eat pasta. It's something that I prefer to eat, but if I just ate or I'm not hungry, then pasta is not going to be reinforcing for me. Next, we're going to talk about preference assessments. There are multiple different types of preference assessments, such as single stimulus, paired stimulus, multiple with replacement, free operant, different kinds. The one we're going to focus on today is multiple stimulus without replacement. But overall, preference assessments are used to help determine what a learner's preferences are, in order to determine which one would be the most likely to become a reinforcer or be used as a reinforcer. Like I said before, it doesn't automatically equal one, but we run them to determine which has the probability of becoming a reinforcer or being used as one. So about multiple stimulus preference assessment without replacement, basically how this works is we're going to document everything on this data sheet, and I'll go through all this as I show you how a preference assessment is done. But basically how this is going to go is you have 3 or more items. In this example, we're going to be using 7. You're going to have an array of these items and present it to the learner. They will pick one of the items out of the array. They'll get to play with it for a little while, and then you're going to represent the remaining stimulus. You will not add this stimulus back into the array. When you do this, it is also important to make sure that you are mixing up or rearranging the array, because we don't want to encounter side bias. Side bias is when the learner is only picking the item because of the placement in the array. So in order to avoid this, we're going to mix it up or rearrange it every time that we present the stimulus. So after they choose the second item, you should be down to 5 items. They'll get the item for a little bit. You'll represent the 5 items after rearranging them, and then they'll pick again. Every time they pick, they do not put the item back, and you will rearrange. And you'll continue this until there are no items left, and this will give you a hierarchy of what is the highest preferred item within the array. And you'll do this about 4 times just to see, like, if their preferences change, which is the highest reinforcer overall, that kind of thing. And right here, we can see a little bit of an example. So we have 5 in this example right here. They pick the first one, we remove it. It is no longer option in the next array. And then we see same thing here. They pick the fidget, we remove that. It is no longer an option until we get down to the final one. Okay, so these are my items. Back to the data sheet that I was talking about previously. In the very top, we're going to write down the items that are going to be an option for this learner. I'll set them out just like I did here. And then at the bottom, as they select it, then we are going to write the letter or the name of the item they picked, and then we're going to circle where it was placed. That way we can also see about this side bias. If they're only picking items on this side, it's because of that bias. So we're going to try it now. So these are my items. Say that I was the learner. I picked the book first. Then on my piece of paper, as my first item right here, I would put book or letter G. And then it was placed 1, 2, 3, 4 as the 5th one. So I would circle the X where that was. Then I would rearrange the items, not putting that one back in, and then I'd pick another item. So this time, let's say I picked the phone. I would put that on my data sheet, item A, right here, and we would continue to do that. So I'll continue to pick the items. Oh, wait a minute, you have to rearrange it before replacing it. Just like that. And I'll pick the coloring book this time. Make sure we put exactly where it was. Mix it up again. This time, I'll pick the we. And these two items are together, that's why it looks like that. The we, which was letter C. It was the fourth, so you can see I'm still marking down which one is which. Mix it up. I'll pick this one. Mixing them. Starburst. And the last one that would be picked is the otter. So at the very end of the first preference lesson, this is approximately how it should look. So we have the letters here that correlate to the different items. And then we have the different placements of where they were. And then you would continuously do this for each of the 4 trials. At the very end, you're gonna sum it up and say about how many of these were picked for each one. So item A or item G, for example, was picked. Say it was picked every time the first time, then that would equal 4. And you would count up the number of totals for each one. This hierarchy will tell you, like, at the highest preferred, it'll let you know what is the highest item that would be most likely to be used as a reinforcer. So the phone, for example, would most likely be used for this client second, just because that was the second highest reinforcer. It was the lowest number. And that's it. Thanks.